All right, folks, Andrew Bobros here. I want to do a quick video on Justin Herbert and why I think he could be an MVP candidate for 2023. So let's get into it.
Bull Bros!
All right, folks, as always, like and subscribe if you do enjoy the content. I'm Andrew. So I want to talk about the Chargers, obviously Justin Herbert, and we are going to be in training camp all next week, folks. I actually hop on a plane tomorrow. I'll be in LA, so please come and see us if you see us. We have some giveaways. There's some things we want to give to everybody. So, guys, just come say hello to us. We want to have a good time. We want to engage with the fans of the Chargers and have a good time with you folks. But let's talk about Justin Herbert, and I think why this season could be a breakout season for Justin Herbert. I'm also going to review some stats. I don't want to go too deep into stats. I don't want this to be like a video just rambling on about stats. But there's going to be some simple things that I want to discuss that I think could really make Herbert have that next level season. So why am I showing Brandon Staley? Well, Brandon Staley, a lot of you guys have had some frustrating remarks about Brandon Staley. I can understand the polarization of him, right? He's, fourth and Staley, yada, yada. Look, Brandon Staley's done a great job of getting this team to believe in themselves. And that's one of the things that I think that the Chargers really have not had. Also, he's gotten Justin Herbert to believe in himself. Herbert clearly likes Brandon Staley as our head coach, right? So I think there's a lot of good things to be said about that specifically. Now, moving forward, what I would say is that I think Brandon Staley is going to be, no matter what, he's going to be our head coach moving forward for a long time. So the rails have to really fall off the track for him to be gone. I saw Acho talk about, I think he's the third highest coach that could get let go this season. He's on the hot seat, right? I would disagree with it. I do think Staley is very well liked, and I think he'll be around for a long time. But again, love his leadership, love who he is as a person, and again, his hire, Kellen Moore, is going to show that he knows what he's doing. And I'm going to talk more about that. Herbert, as we know, last season was very banged up. Week 2, fractured rib cartilage, not a good situation for him. Obviously, week 16, he had a shoulder injury. You can see the KT tape there. He did get off-season surgery to get that cleaned up. The man was banged up. Our team was banged up. We had all kinds of problems up and down as a team last season. It was not fun. So you ask yourself this question: was it Herbert's fault or was the offensive coordinator's fault? I think it was a little bit of both, right? At the end of the day, Justin Herbert did as good as he could do. He still did great. So let's review his stats from all 3 seasons and see where he sits amongst quarterbacks moving forward. Let me reposition my camera a little bit. Here we go. So Justin Herbert, a passer rating in his first 3 seasons of 96.2 with 14,000 total yards, 94 touchdowns and 35 interceptions in 49 games in his first 3 seasons. Herbert does a great job of putting the ball in the right place, and he keeps the ball protected. He's not going to put the ball in harm's way very often. He does a very good job. And even if you look at all the games that he's had interceptions, a lot of them were tip balls. Ball hits their hands, goes up in the air. The defensive back makes the play. That's how it works a lot of times, right? But I want to review his years, right? His first year against when he was with Shane Steichen. We all know who Shane Steichen is. He went to the Eagles. But look at his numbers his first year. And only in 15 games, he had a 98.3 passer rating. Killed it. And then look how it went down after that. 97.7, 93.2. He averages 96.2. So the argument could be made that Herbert has regressed as a quarterback. I don't see that at all, right? I mean, he's still averaging 287 yards per game in the NFL, which is absolutely amazing, right? So he's done very well. Why I think he could be amazing with Kellen Moore, I'm going to go into that specifically. He's going to go back to what Shane Steichen did with him his rookie season, okay? So, again, Shane Steichen was an amazing offensive coordinator for the Eagles, right? Now he's a head coach for the Colts. But let's talk a little bit about Shane Steichen. What did he do specifically with Justin Herbert to make him so successful his rookie campaign? Again, if you all remember, Anthony Lynn was our head coach. He was let go. There was some discussion that Shane Steichen might step in and be the head coach. He was also pretty young OC at that time. I think really they weren't really believing he was the right guy moving forward. Well, Shane Steichen went over to Nick Sirianni, went over and to the Eagles, and you all know what they did there, right? Went to the Super Bowl last year, and the man knows what he's doing working with young quarterbacks, right? So Joe Lombardi came over. Brandon Staley and Joe Lombardi were friends. Brandon Staley was very clearly stating that he was the fourth choice for offensive coordinator. You know who really wanted was Kevin O'Connell, who is now the head coach for the Vikings, right? And ultimately, Sean McVay at the Rams would not let Brandon Staley bring him over or even interview him for the role for the Chargers. So it's a really interesting situation, right? And again, Joe Lombardi and Brandon Staley are friends. It's partially why they got the job. Look, Brandon Staley understands that offense, understands that system very well, so he was fine using him. Moving forward, look at what Shane Steichen's already talking about with his new quarterback. Okay, why am I bringing this up? This is what Shane Steichen did with Justin Herbert his first season. Biggest thing for a young quarterback is not to clutter their minds with too much information. Okay, the Niners do that very well. A lot of people like Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant. He came in, things were very simple. The system was simple to understand. Shane Steichen understands that. You don't need to be too flashy. We talk about one play that was very popular in college. It's called the repass option or the RPO. That is an extremely easy play to run on the offensive side of the ball. All you do, you're the quarterback, ball comes to you, you're gonna hand off to the running back. If you see the edge rusher crashing in, you tuck the ball, run around the edge rusher, or you tuck and throw it. Or if the edge rusher is just setting the edge, waiting, hand the ball off to the running back runs up the middle, or he finds a gap. Usually it's a zone read. It's a zone running back play, right? It's not usually a gap scheme. They're just going to, wherever the hole is, just find the hole and move forward. Or you throw the ball, right? It's very easy and very repeatable. Keep it simple, stupid. That's one of the first things you learn in sales is keep it simple, stupid. You do not overcomplicate your conversation. Now, moving forward, that's one thing, obviously, was, well, we talk about this. Shane Steichen did a very good job of keeping it simple for Justin Herbert his first season. Well, fast forward to 2021 when Joe Lombardi comes in and we have this tweet. Lombardi's offense that he brought over for them Saints is very complicated. And it is, folks, it is very complicated. It's not easy to run. It's not easy to manage. It's not easy to diagnose. It is very difficult. And the coaching staff did not hold anything back in 2021 when they installing the offense in the spring and summer of last year. Herbert told The Athletic, guys were drowning to learn the playbook. Okay, they were drowning. See, and the problem with that is, folks, is that when you're there as a player and you're sitting here thinking, okay, well, what do I do here? Okay, we're running the ball to the right side, or we're doing this or that, right? If you make it difficult for these players to know where they need to be, it's going to be hard for them to execute their jobs properly. They could miss a block. Then the whole play is completely blown up. Again, Lombardi did a lot of gap runs, and some zone running as well too, but he made it complicated, way too complicated, right? And again, with the amount of injuries we had on the offensive line, it made it difficult for our team to play effectively. Now, one thing that Kellen Moore said, and I'll bring up his picture now, he wants to keep all the good from last season and add more to it. And that's really good, right? Because there were some good things. Guys, we weren't bad offensively, but we could have improved in the run game. We were almost dead last in the running game. We were terrible. Going back to Brandon Staley, the reason why Brandon Staley hired Kellen Moore is he knew he was very hard to defend against. He very openly said, one of the hardest offensive coordinators I've ever coached against. The reason being is he's aggressively putting pressure on that defense. That defense, again, you could just sit back and run the exact same offense over and over again. And if the defense doesn't need to change or adjust, they won't. I go back to the 49ers game last season. Their linebacker came from BYU. Oh my gosh. Fred Warner. He said they ran the same defensive play the entire second half, and we never scored another touchdown. I think we kicked like 2 field goals. They ran the same defensive play the second half. Joe Lombardi never adjusted as an offensive coordinator to what the defense was throwing in front of us, right? So let's review some stats on that. Let's just talk a little bit about some of the stats from the Chargers, how we produce quarter 1 through quarter 4, and how the Cowboys produce quarter 1 through quarter 4. Quarter 1, Dallas, 7th in the league, 5.1 points per game. Chargers, quarter one, 18th in the league, 3.9 points per quarter one, right? In quarter one, that's what we averaged all last season. So Dallas 5.1, Chargers 3.9. Quarter two, Chargers did much better. We were second in the league, 11.3 points per quarter two. Dallas, number 9. They were 7.9 points in quarter two on average. Quarter three, this is where the wheels completely fall off the track for the Chargers. Dallas, number 5 in the league, 6.1 points per game in quarter three. Quarter three for the Chargers, 29th in the league, 2.9 points per game. A field goal, folks. That's all we ever scored in the third quarter. That's so bad. It shows no adjustments, no changing. Folks, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Kellen Moore is not that guy. He is going to adjust. What do we need to do to get them out of their too high safety look, or get them out of their bare fronts that they're running, that they're killing us on our running plays? Let's do some GT counters. You can adjust. Put pressure on that defense. Make that defense not know what's coming, and be aggressive. That's what Dallas does. Now, again, this is another part, right? Again, quarter three, the Chargers 29th in the league, 2.9. Quarter four, Dallas, number 3 in the league, 7.7 points per game or quarter. Keep saying game. Chargers, number 25th in the league, 5.1 points per game or per quarter, fourth quarter. So we didn't start strong. We did pretty good in the second quarter, and then we finished weak every game. Again, last season we averaged 23 points a game. We gave up 22 points per game. So every game was very close. Matt Money Smith said something really interesting, that the Chargers have more weapons than the Cowboys. I 100% agree with that. I would say that the Cowboys have a better offensive line than the Chargers do, but I think we do have a very good offensive line this season, and I think Kellen Moore will do a very good job utilizing them. Matt Money Smith says if you line up with Q, Williams, Allen in the slot, and Parham, and Austin Eckler in the backfield, someone is going to get open. Folks, that's the point. The Chargers have everything they need to be successful, and Kellen Moore is going to be aggressive, consistently pushing the ball downfield, right? And last season, again, with all the injuries we had, right, we didn't have anybody to throw the ball to, right? It was mostly checkdowns to Austin Eckler. That's why we averaged, guys, almost a league-leading bad stat, 4.7 yards per pass attempt for Justin Herbert last season. Absolutely abysmal, folks. Absolutely abysmal. And that was largely due to injuries to him, wide receiving core, and really the game plan that Joe Lombardi threw out there. But I think with Kellen Moore wants to be 100% aggressive. Again, one of the things that really why he was the scapegoat for the Chargers specifically was the fact that he wanted to light up the scoreboard. And there was some. I want to read one more quote while you see the statistics. You take a look at those statistics. So Ari Mariov talked quite a bit about Kellen Moore coming to the Chargers. And he basically thinks Moore is going to be one of the redemption candidates this year. And a lot of Cowboy fans were so funny the way they talked about Kellen Moore. Oh, he's just, I don't know, like not great. You know, he's okay, not good. But this is a great quote. And I just want to end with this and review these stats and give you my final thoughts. Moore showed in Dallas he was willing to be aggressive with his play calling. He was very aggressive. Now, I also do believe that they held him back. And he always said he wanted to light up the scoreboard. But defensively, they wanted to have their defensive players ready to go in the fourth quarter, right, to get a stop. The biggest complaints people have had with the Chargers over the past 2 years is they've not been aggressive. They've been the exact opposite, kind of playing not to lose. And that's really probably the biggest problem with Lombardi's system moving forward is it just really was not good in that regard. It wasn't aggressive, was not making adjustments as I've already outlined. With the abundance of offensive weapons, Herbert has immense talent. Again, Q, Darius Davis. Everyone's sleeping on Darius Davis. I think he's going to be absolutely excellent. Moore could be the guy who unleashes what the general public has always said and been saying for a long time is that Herbert could be an MVP type season. Look, the argument is this. Kellen Moore knows what he's doing. He knows how to call a game. And look at these stats, folks. Cowboys, over 6,000 yards of total offense in 2022. They were 12-5. 55 touchdowns, one of the best red zone teams in the league. They averaged 27.5 points per game. Dude, that's crazy, folks. That's amazing. And they only gave up 20.1 points per game. Well, you win more when you score more points, folks, right? That's the whole point. So, and they were very good at fourth down, very good at third down. Guys, the argument is Dak Prescott a better quarterback than Justin Herbert? Absolutely not. And Herbert has more weapons than he even had last season. If we can stay healthy, get aggressive. I think also, folks, you're going to see a lot more fourth and Staley this season. I think, honestly, I really think he's going to say, Kellen, do what you want. Light up the scoreboard. Do whatever you got to do, folks. Let's just put more points on the board. We'll worry about the defense once we're on the field. Move forward that way. So, guys, I really do believe, keep it simple, stupid. Kellen Moore is going to keep this offense very simple, very easy to run, and very easy to understand. Lombardi kept things way too complicated. And if we could just emulate the stats, I really think 27 points per game is very doable for this team in 2023. And again, if that happens, guys, Herbert could have 50 touchdowns. 50 touchdowns. I know Aether talks about that all the time. 50 touchdowns, folks. I think it could absolutely happen. Well, guys, that's a lot of information. Agree or disagree with me. Like and subscribe. As always, Andrew Bopros. See you guys in the next one.